Greetings everyone, I'm Adam Haritan. Today I am hanging out in the great state of Tennessee, and sharing the camera with me is a superstar known as Tennessee purple coneflower. This is a plant that was considered extinct just a few decades ago, but as you can see, it's definitely not extinct. Tennessee purple coneflower is here, its numbers have been rising in recent decades, and the plant is locally abundant in some areas. How did this happen? How did Tennessee purple coneflower come back from the dead? Well, it's a great story, and to get started with it, we have to talk about the kind of habitat that Tennessee purple coneflower grows in. This is a cedar glade. A lot of people are unfamiliar with cedar glades. We know what a forest is, we know what a desert is, we know what a prairie is, but a cedar glade sounds pretty unusual, and it kind of is. It's an open area of land with little to no soil, where limestone bedrock is either exposed at the surface or is very near to the surface. A cedar glade is rocky, it's sunny, and it's hot and dry during the summer season. In the surrounding woods, eastern red cedar trees are prevalent. Now, Tennessee purple coneflower is endemic to cedar glades. What this means is that the plant is restricted to these habitats and it doesn't naturally grow anywhere else. As it turns out, these habitats are rare, and not entirely because modern humans have drastically altered the landscape. Even at the time of European settlement, cedar glades weren't common. So Tennessee purple coneflower as a cedar glade endemic has always been somewhat uncommon as well. Now, 1968 is an important year in our story because in that year, an expert who wrote the monograph on the coneflower genus stated in his monograph that this endemic plant, Tennessee purple coneflower, was possibly extinct. He came to this conclusion because he couldn't find the plant on any of his botanical adventures, and he wasn't aware of anyone else finding the plant. Because no one could faithfully report any sightings, the plant was considered possibly extinct in 1968. This belief persisted in the scientific community for quite some time, but it didn't last too long because during the mid to late 60s, interesting things were happening. No, I'm not talking about the British invasion or the hippie movement. I'm talking about people actually finding Tennessee purple coneflower plants on their botanical adventures. People weren't finding a lot of plants, and they weren't finding them often, but any sighting of this cedar glade endemic was exciting because it meant that the species wasn't extinct after all. There was one big problem, however. The locations in which people were finding this plant were being lost to development. Trailer parks were being built on cedar glades, residential housing developments were being built on cedar glades, even newly constructed reservoirs were flooding cedar glades. So this plant, which had always been somewhat rare and more recently had been considered extinct, was actually now at risk of truly becoming extinct. This is where a woman named Elsie Quarterman enters the story. Elsie Quarterman was an ecologist working at Vanderbilt University, and Elsie loved cedar glades. She botanized in the cedar glades. She conducted research in the cedar glades. She inspired her students to study the cedar glades. Elsie was one of the people who rediscovered Tennessee purple coneflower in the late 1960s when the plant was considered extinct. And recognizing that the cedar glades and their endemics were at serious risk of disappearing, she immediately took action to protect these threatened ecosystems. Through her conservation efforts and through the efforts of her students and her peers, in 1979, Tennessee purple coneflower became the first plant endemic to Tennessee to be protected by the Endangered Species Act. Over the next several years, cedar glade habitats were bought by conservation organizations and became perpetually protected from development. And new populations of Tennessee purple coneflower were established from seeds collected from wild specimens. The efforts to protect this plant continued for decades, and they were so successful that in 2011, Tennessee purple coneflower was officially taken off from the endangered species list. And Elsie Quarterman, the ecologist who was instrumental in starting the movement to protect the cedar glades, was able to experience this monumental achievement at the age of 100. Today, over 900,000 Tennessee purple coneflower plants are thought to exist, the majority of them being natural wild populations. The remaining plants have been propagated from natural populations and have been introduced into wild settings. It all makes you wonder how powerful not only a small group of people can be in making significant changes to the land, but how powerful a single species can be in protecting an entire ecosystem. Tennessee purple coneflower is just a single species, but it grabbed the attention of conservation-minded people and it didn't let go. Because this happened, all the other cedar glade endemics, and there are likely over 20 of them, have benefited tremendously. And so have all the insects, all the mammals, all the lichens, all the birds and fungi and herbaceous plants that also call this place home. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I encourage you to visit a cedar glade and to spend some time with this remarkable plant, Tennessee purple coneflower. If you'd like to support the Learn Your Land channel, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and head on over to learnyourland.com and sign up for the email newsletter. Thanks again for watching. I will see you on the next video.